Okay, so good morning everyone. So today we're going to discuss about programming fundamentals. Okay, so next. Okay, so there are five atomic data types in our DevC program. So there are five data types, okay, that we're going to consider. So the number one data type that we're going to consider is the character. Okay, or if we're going to write that in a program, we just write a char, no, char lang. So we're going to write char in the program, that if we are going to use character, no, in the code. So that's the first data type that we are going to determine, no? So character, it used to hold ASCII characters that is only equivalent to 8 bits. So ang size sa character is only 8 bits. And take note that character, it is actually used for letters only. Okay, so if you're going to use letters pertaining to variables that are referring to letters, no, I mean that the value that you are going to store in a certain variable is a letter, therefore you're going to use a data type that is character. Okay, the next one is integer. So integer are used to hold integer quantities or numbers, okay, particularly whole numbers. So if you're going to write the data type integer in the program, so you're going to type int or int, okay. So that is the data type that is applicable for numbers only, particularly whole numbers. Okay, so the second and the third, okay, I mean the third and the fourth one, okay, are the float and the double float. So float and double float are used to hold real numbers, both integers and fractional. So this means that float and double float are data types that used to hold numbers, okay, containing both whole numbers and decimal points. So if you're going to store a value that has a decimal point, so therefore you're going to use float data type, okay, or double float. Now, what's the difference between the two? Okay? So, kaya giisa sila, it's because pareha lang ilang function. Okay? They're just the same function. So, meaning these two data types holds values that contains whole numbers and decimal point. The difference between the two is the size. Okay? So, float holds how many integers? Okay, by the how many bits? Okay, for by the way, for character you have 8 bits. For integers you have how many bits? 16 bits. Okay? Now for float, the size of float is about 32 bits. Okay? 32 bits ang iyang size, bit size. While the double float has 64. Okay? 64 bits ang double float. So that's the difference between the two. But the functionality are just the same. Kaya lang si double float mas taas, mas dako ang iyang quantities, no, because it is 64 bits compared to float which is only 34 bits. Now the last one is the void or the valueless. Okay, so void, kaya gitawag siya void, it's because the bit size of this particular data type is 0 bits. Okay, wala siya kanang quantity. That is why it is also called valueless. Okay, but if you're going to type that one as a data type in your program, you're going to type void. Okay, so void ang itong ibutang. Now, so again, there are three uses of void. So declares explicitly a function as a return which has no value. So usually void are used to declare a function. Okay, mag-declare siya og function or what we call the subroutine. Okay, remember in your history of computers wherein the first programmer is Ada Byron, okay, or Ada Lovelace Byron, who programmed the what we call the difference engine, the analytical engine. And take note that in her program, she already uses, diba, as I emphasizes, the three different important things nga gibuhat dito ni Ada Byron sa iyang program, in which she uses the looping, okay, the conditional statements, and the subroutine, okay, or we call that one as function, okay, function or subroutine ang tawag na. So again, these three major factors, okay, are the topics, no, na gi-mention or that was used in programming ni Ada Byron. We're going to make an emphasis on that particular part, no, sa toong programming. So the first thing that we're going to discuss is the conditional statements, followed by the looping statements, and followed by the subroutine. So take note that when it comes to conditional statements, so there are so many, types of conditional statements. There are also a lot of types of looping statements. Okay, so the other thing is the subroutine, or the what you call the function. So usually when you're going to create a function or a subroutine, we are going to use the data type that is equivalent to void. Okay, so function having no parameters. Okay, so like for example, parameters, like we have the variables. Okay, we're going to declare a variable inside your function. Okay, so pwede tayo mag-declare diha. Sige lang, we're going to have those things later on when we're going to have our example. So take note, pag void siya, if you're going to use void as a function, there will be no return value. Kasi take note that the quantity of void is 0 bits. So di na kailangan mag-return value. Unlike other data types, like for example, character, integer, float, and double float, these data types can also be used as a function name. Okay? Pwede siya magamit sa function name. Kaya lang, at the end of the program, you're going to return the value. So that is why if you're going to look at the program later on, if you're going to use character, integer, float, and double float as a function, so makita nimo at the end of the program may nakabutang return 0. Okay? So that means that you're going to return the value to 0 bits. Okay, so for void, so di na kailangan. Okay, so to create generic pointers, okay, you can also use this one as a pointer. Okay, so you will know later on what is pointer. Okay, so again, these are the different bit widths of the different data types. So a character 8, integer 16, float 32, 64 ang double float, and the void is 0. Okay, so when it comes to ranges, so when ang ranges 0 to 255, okay, and negative 32 to positive 32, okay, this is the maximum value of 16 bits. Okay, this is also the maximum value of 32 bits. This is also the maximum value of 64 bits. So nagkakataas ang iyahang range or ang iyahang capacity. So of course, void, that is valueless. Okay, so next, declaration variable. Okay, so I will just try to show everything. Okay, so declaration variables. So we have the two types of declaration variable. Okay, let me see. Okay, there are two types of declaration variable. Okay, we have the global and we have the local variable. Okay, but the general format, okay, the general form, or we call this one as syntax. Okay, if you're going to read the different books, makita lang ninyo as general form. Okay, but the very term that is being used by programmers are syntax. Okay, so minsan unsay syntax ana sa declaration variable. Okay, but the books are using the word general form, or sometimes they're also using the word syntax, but the common term for this one is syntax. Okay, so declaration variable general form or syntax is, we have the type refers to the data type. Okay, we have the 5 different now take note, there are a lot of data types. Okay, but those 5 data types are the most common data types that is being used. So mo ito pinaka-common nga data types, but there are really lots of data types. Okay, So, katulang pinaka-common. O, we are going to use that one. Then, we have the variable list or the variable name. Okay? So, muna siya ang general format. That is why, if you are going to be asked, what is the syntax? Okay? What is the syntax or what is the general form of declaration variable? So, if we are being asked about the general form or the syntax of the declaration variable, your answer should be type or a data type and then the variable name space and then the variable name or variable list. Okay? Now, take note if you're going to make this one, diba? It should be, if you're going to create a variable name containing a number or whatever, it should be underscored. Okay? Butanin mo siya underscore. Dapat sumpay ang iyang pangalan. Dili mo siya pwede nga putlon, no? Variable tapos space list, no? That's an error. Okay, mag-cause nag-error. So, dua lang ang makita nimo dapat sa general form. We have the type, data type, and then we have the variable list. Okay, that is the general form or syntax. Now, when you say give me an example of a variable declaration or declaration variable. So, mo ang example na. Okay, example is int. Int refers to the type or data type, diba? This int refers to integer. I, J, and K, this refers to the variable lists, okay, or the variable names, okay. Then take note that in terms of variable declaration, you can declare, a single. That is why it is called variable list or variable name, because you can declare this one individually. Like for example, integer I, tapos na pagka sa second line, integer J or integer K, okay. So, pwede nimo siya isa-isahan og declare. Pero, again, if these variable names or variable list have the same data type, same lang ilang data type, therefore, what we're going to do to save space, okay? Kasi every time you declare integer, nag-consume siya og quantity or size, no? So, to save space as well, what we're going to do is, the same lang man ang iyang data type. So, therefore, ato lang siyang i-declare as one-liner lang. Sa isa lang kalinya. Because J, K, and I, ang ilang data type is integer man, so pwede isaon lang I, J, and K. Okay? So, one declaration lang to save space as well. So, pwede multiple imong declaration sa variable name, sa variable list, pwede pud nga individual. Okay? Character, name. So, name is the variable list, and the character is the data type. Okay? So, mo na example sa variable declaration. Now, again, variable declaration has two different types. We have the local variable and the global variable. Now, what is this local variable? A variable declared within or inside a function. Okay? That is what we call local variable. Kana daw ang variable nga declare inside a function. So, what do we mean by function? So, function, example here, void me, okay? This is an example of function. Ang void me, it starts with this one, open brace, and it ends with a close brace. Okay? In a program, you can have one function, or you can have multiple function. Okay? So, this one, take note that ang function, it always starts with a brace, and ends with a brace as well. So, kani siya tanan, this is one function. Okay? Void is the data type, diba? Remember kanina, katong gina-mention ako nga subroutine. Okay? So, void is a data type and me is the function name. Okay? Me is the function name. Now, when it comes to function name, you can create any function name you want. Okay? Pwede po na ako void, tapos you, void he, okay? Void world, whatever name you wanted to name your void. But again, if you are going to create a function name, see to it that the function name is also related to the program that you are making. Kasi later on, when you're going to create a program wherein you have multiple functions already, so see to it nga related siya. Like for example, no? Butang ka diag void add. Okay, void add. So meaning, what is inside your function are all additions. Okay? Addition pud siya, no? Kasi para later on pag mag-trace ka o void add or si function name na add, so Kabulo ka nga ang sulod ni function name ni add is to do addition. Okay? Nga mayumpog ka nga void subtraction. So syempre, ang nasa sulod nga void subtraction is also subtraction process. Okay? So yung ana lang siya. So meaning it should be nga when you're going to create a function name, it should be related to the program that you are making. Okay? But actually, there's no such thing na ano naman na tawag ani dapat ano gid siya ang function name, no? You can create as I've said, you can create any function name you want, but as I've said na in order for you na later on during troubleshooting and checking, dili ka ma-confuse. Kasi sa function name lang daan, you already know what is the function of that particular program that you are creating. Okay? So, yung ana siya. So, again, ang variable declaration, local variable declaration, it only means that the integer, di ba? Integer int. Okay, int is the data type, x is the variable name. Now, x now has a value that is equivalent to 10. Okay? So, meaning 10 ang value ni x. So, this one is local variable simply because your variable here, integer x, is declared inside your function. Naa siya sa sulod sa function. So, local lang siya. Meaning, kaning x ni mo, diri lang pwede gamiton sa sulod, no? Sa sulod sa imuhang void me. Dili siya pwede gamiton dito sa gawas. Okay? So, sige lang, I will give you example later on. Okay, so global variables, okay, the distinction is that this one, okay, when we say global variables, that means that the integer or the variables that you are going to declare should be outside your function. Okay, void main, so ang pangalan sa imuhang function is main, and therefore count is your variable, but your declaration is outside your function, na siya sa gawas. Okay, in this case, count can be used to any functions, no, that you're going to you're going to make use of the variable count. Okay? So, pwede siya magamit, no? Okay, like for example, this one, another. Okay. So, in this case, that means that integer count, the variable count can be used here sa void main, can also be used here sa void main 2. Okay? So, pwede siya magamit dire. Because, ang imong variable nga is global variable. When you say global variable, the variable that you are going to declare can be used to any functions, no? Bisig asa nga function, pwede siya gamiton. But when it comes to local variable, ang imong variable manggod na alang man sa sulod sa imuhang anang function. So, therefore, for example, nabutang ka og x diri kay function main, ang x ni mga variable dili lang pwede gamiton kang main. Dili na to pwede gamiton sa x dito kang main 2. Why? It's because ang x is only recognized sa main nga function. Pag abot na diri karon mag-error na siya nga naman wala man siya kaila kang x. Okay? Wala siya kaila kang x. So ang may tabo si x is exclusive lang kay void main. It is not allowed to be used in main 2. Okay? Muna ang local. That's the difference between local and global. So, unlike count, si count man kung naka-declare sa gawas. So, meaning, count can be used diri sa main, count can also be used diri sa main 2. Kasi na siya sa gawas i-declare. So, okay, para di maglibog, when we say local, the variable declaration is declared inside. Okay? Inside the function. But when we say global variable, the variable declaration is declared outside, okay? Outside the function. That's the very, kumbaga, main difference between the two. Okay? When you're going to create really a lot of programs containing the same variables, so I advise you to declare it globally. Like for example, nagamit ka og count diri sa void main 2 nagamit pug ka og count, void main 3 nagamit gyapon ka og count. So ang buhaton nimo i-global na lang nimo siya, kaisa lang i-declare. As I've said, every time you declare count man good, nag-consume ka na og size. So, kung i-local name mo siya pagka-declare, what you're going to do, i-declare name mo integer count sa void main, declare na po kag integer count sa void main 2, pag-abot na po sa void main 3, declare na po kag integer count. So, kapila ka nag-declare integer count? Katulo. Di ba? Nya, the same lang tanan. Di ba? The same lang tanan. So, kung the same lang yung variables sa different functions, you better declare it outside your function. That makes it a global variable. Okay? Sige. Now, assignment statements. Okay, now this is now the assignment statements. Okay, let me just show you. Okay. Assignment statements, this is very important, especially when it comes to conditional, no? Mga conditional or increment, decrement, or even in different operations. This is very helpful. So again, assignment statement, the general form or the syntax is ano lang, variable name and then is equals to expression. Okay? Variable name and then expression. Example to this is like, for example, ganyan, di ba? Natay x is equals to 10. Okay? Let me try kung makasulat pa ko. Dili. So, x is equals to 10. So, x now is the variable name and 10 now is the expression or the value. Okay? So, that is assignment statement, no? But the syntax or the general form is this one, variable name and then expression. Now, these are the different arithmetic operations. So, we have now, of course, subtraction, addition, multiplication, division, and, of course, we have modulus, decrement, and increment. Okay? Of course, we are familiar with this four fundamental operations from subtraction, addition, multiplication, division. These are the four fundamental operations. We are used to this already, diba? But when it comes to this one, modulus, I think you're not so familiar with this one, or maybe you have already encountered modulus division. Okay, so the very thought about modulus division is that when you're going to, the very thought of modulus division is that what result you will be yielding from this particular operation is that the remainder, no? Okay, whatever the remainder is, that will be the value or the result of the modulus division. Like for example, when you say 5 divided by 2, or 5 modulus of 2. Okay, so 5 modulus of 2. So ang buhaton man gud nimo na kay modulus division man siya, you are going to divide 5 divided by 2. So the result is 2. 2 times 2 is 4, di ba? 4. So 4 and then 5 minus 4, that is 1. So, ang result sa modulus division is 1. Meaning, kung sa itong remainder, mo to ang result sa, or mo to ang answer sa modulus division. Okay? Sige lang, we're going to have that one again. Kanita ng mga arithmetic operations, you will encounter all these things later on. Especially when you are going to have our proper programming. So, in decrement, again, decrement. Okay? So, decrement, that is minus minus. So, the use of decrement, nga minus minus, it will only decrease one number at a time. And increment plus plus, that will only increase one number also at a time. Okay? So, sige, ako ang makatawag example Let me just finish this one. Okay, relational and logical operators. Okay, these are the different relational and logical operators. Okay, so we have greater than, you have greater equal to, you have less than equal to, and we have equal to. Okay, so these relational operators will be used later on, especially in the conditional statements, or even in the this is actually used for conditional statements. Okay, so ma-encounter ninyo tanan greater than equal to, or less than equal to, and equal to. Okay, now I will also give you a distinction between this one, equal to, and the assignment operator, so there would be a difference later on. Okay, so not equal. Okay, not equal. This one is not equal, the symbol of not equal. Okay, so logical operators. Okay, these are the different logical operators. We have the and, the or, and the not. Okay, so and operator, this is a symbol of and operator. Now, if we are going to encounter a single ampersand. This is what we call the ampersand. So double ampersand refers to and, while single ampersand, kung isa lang kayong ani yung makita nimo, it refers to a pointer. Okay, pointer ang iyahang ginapasabot ana, dili na siya and operator. Okay, kasi ang symbol sa pointer, there are two symbols of pointer. The first one is this one, ampersand ang ginagamit niya. The second symbol of pointer is katong asterisk, di ba? Katong asterisk. Pag makita kag asterisk before the variable name, like for example asterisk tapos name, that means that the name is referred to as a pointer. Okay? Pointer siya. Now, we have the this one king double, okay, double. So makita nimo ang symbol ani, di ba? If you're going to write this symbol, makita nimo ni siya above your enter key. Kung makita nimo enter key, nakita ka na og naay straight lang diha, so mo na ang symbol sa or. Pero kaduaon nimo siya og type kay ang nakita nimo sa enter key man good above the enter key ha sa imong keyboard is single lang man. So in order for it to have these two lines, so kaduha nimo siya i-click, of course, di ba? And of course the not, this one, so makita nimo ni nga symbol sa number 1 ni mga keyboard. Okay? So sa shift lang, shift tapos 1, so magawas na ang not operator. Okay, so